Fab, thanks, Chris. So a little bit about us. So we're the local infrastructure organisation for Warwickshire and Solihull, providing a couple of different strands of support. There's the funding and groups development support that you've heard from a couple of us across the county and Solihull here that we deliver. So that's anything from identifying funders, supporting you with a funding application, proofreading or providing advice, all the way through to helping with policies, governance. If you're looking to set up a new charity, we can help you with that and provide advice on the best structures that are available. We also offer volunteering support. We're not joined by anybody today, but we have volunteering coordinators across the county. All of their information is on our website as well, and I can make sure to share that with you after as well. So these are the areas that we operate in. You've heard from David in North Warwickshire. We've also got Michelle in Nuneaton and Bedworth. I'm in Rugby Borough. You've got Fiona in Warwick District, Chris in Stratford upon Avon, and Claire in Solihull. So we've also got Ollie in Warwick as well now. So there's 2 funding and development officers in Warwick at the minute. So there's lots of people across the county to help you with any of your sort of needs surrounding your voluntary and community organisation. So I've covered a bit of this already. We can assist with any sort of technical difficulties and FAQs surrounding application forms. We have sort of relationships with various funders that we can help with those sorts of things, particularly around sort of local authority funding and following up after events like this, delivering other events like this to provide more information and opportunities to ask questions of funders. So a good way to stay in the loop with events like this, as well as all of these benefits, is to sign up as a member and also to sign up to our newsletter. It's free and you get all sorts of good stuff by engaging with that, including having your organisation listed on our community directory and discounted rates on these back office support services, just the top 2 there. Here's our contact information. I've done a bit of a whistle stop tour through that just so that we can get right into the nitty gritty of this workshop. But that's all our information, and I'll make sure we have that in the chat as well. So I'm going to stop screen sharing now. And I'm going to pass over to Sahil from The Big Give.
Thank you, Phoebe. Thank you for inviting me to speak today. Really looking forward to it, and thanks everyone for joining today. Hopefully you can see my slides now. So yeah, my name is Sahil. I'm the partnerships manager at The Big Give. So I manage our relationships with charities. I also help organize our campaigns as well. So I'm one of the touch points for charities contacting The Big Give along with my colleague Beth. So today I'm just going to give a presentation on match funding and what The Big Give does and how you can get involved with us. So I'll just cover a bit of background about The Big Give, and then I'll give some details about the impact of match funding, what we've heard from charities, and also some of our own research into it. And then I'll talk about match funding opportunities with The Big Give and what sort of campaigns you can get involved with, and finally how you can get involved. So yeah, The Big Give in a nutshell, we connect charities to philanthropists and offer charities match funding through our own campaigns. We're a digital fundraising platform, so charities can launch their own campaigns as well on our website to take donations online. And we also help through our campaigns, we help you increase online visibilities, and as I mentioned, we have the opportunity for charities to take part in our match funding campaigns. We were started in 2008 by Sir Alec Reed, founder of Reed Recruitment, as a way for philanthropists and charities to be sort of connected together. And from his initial idea came this match funding sort of element, which is our core focus nowadays. But since 2008, just over £186 million has been raised on the platform through match funding. Our most recent campaign was the Christmas Challenge last year, which raised £24 million. Our next campaign is the Women and Girls Match Fund. It's a campaign that we're running for the first time ever this year, and it launches in March. The application just closed a couple of days ago. And our next campaign after that is the Green Match Fund. So it's an environmentally focused campaign, which is we're running for the second year. And got a bit lost there. And so applications are currently open for the Green Match Fund, but I'll go into more details about it in later on in the presentation. So just going to talk a bit about the impacts of match funding. So from our own research into match funding, the effect of match funding on donors, we found that people are more likely to give when match funding is on offer. So we canvassed donors, we've done some academic research into this, and we found that around 84% of people are more likely to give when match funding is on offer. So that just, for us, that underlines the impact of match funding to encourage people to donate. From the charity side, we asked, after charities take part in our campaigns, we asked them to complete a post-campaign survey just to get their feedback on the campaign and how they feel match funding has affected sort of their engagement with donors. And from those surveys, we found that there have been 3 key areas where charities have found like the real benefits of match funding, which is resilience, skills, and profile. And over the next few slides, I'll just go into a bit of detail about these points. Firstly, on the resilience, and this is more, the first point is to do with digital fundraising in general, we believe, but also we think match funding is a great way for charities to get involved with digital fundraising. But over the last few years, obviously with the pandemic and funding being squeezed, we've seen that a lot of funding has been more competitive and sort of a bit less available. And we really think that digital fundraising in general, but match funding is a great way for charities to diversify their income streams if they're not already doing it. Having a new revenue stream is always great for charities, and just ensures that there's sort of another toolkit in the charities fundraising sort of fundraising options. So we always encourage charities that haven't tried digital fundraising in general to give it a go, and and also try and encourage them to try match funding as a first opportunity for that. The second point about engaging donors, we've seen that match funding is a great way that charities have reported to us that they've been able to engage with donors. And it's been obviously their existing supporters, which they've been able to go out to with their match funding opportunity and to have their donations double. But we've also seen a lot of charities have received a lot of donations from completely new supporters because of the match funding element. From the Christmas Challenge 2020, 90% of charities that took part reported at least one donation from a completely new supporter. And we've had anecdotal examples of charities getting donation from corporate sponsors as corporate donors, and then also major donations coming from completely new supporters. And sometimes those supporters have actually gone on to become long-term supporters, or they've given it again to the charity. So match funding is a great way for charities to be introduced to new donors. Finally, also a great way to engage with lapsed donors, so those supporters that haven't given to you in some time or haven't engaged with your charity in some time. We've heard from charities that the match funding element has just really encouraged those types of donors to sort of support the charity again and donate to the charity again. Finally, obviously, it's about that unlocking that funding from our network of philanthropists, and foundations and businesses that provide the match funding through our campaigns, and we call them champions. So it's a great way to unlock that, obviously, that extra bit of funding. As I mentioned, donors are more likely to give more with match funding. And I just had a real world example of this was at the start of the pandemic, the National Emergencies Trust launched their emergency COVID-19 campaign. And we partnered with them to run a special match funding campaign as part of that overall emergency campaign. And for 1 week, the National Emergencies Trust directed donors away from their regular donation website to the Big Gives match funding campaign that we were running for them. And after that week, the NET reported that the average donation increased by over 24% during that 1 week where donors were redirected to the match funding campaign. And so that just not only underlines that donors are more likely to give when match funding is on offer, but also they're more likely to give more with match funding, so they increase their donations with the match funding element. On to skills. As I mentioned before, if charities haven't tried digital fundraising, match funding is a great way to get introduced to digital fundraising and try something that they haven't tried before. And also for charities that have done digital fundraising campaigns in the past, if you haven't tried digital match funding, it's something that new that you can try and see, maybe even compare it to your other digital fundraising campaigns that you've done, but also just to try different techniques and different ideas to engage with donors. And the way that the Big Give supports charities with this is that charities taking part in our campaign have access to training and resources. We normally run webinars to help charities prepare for the campaign. So we'll bring in industry experts in social media, PR, fundraising to help charities just get prepared for the campaign. And we also have toolkits and guidebooks for charities to help plan for their campaigns. And all of the resources that we provide charities is completely free. And what we really want to just encourage is charities to learn the skills that not only help them for their campaign that they're taking part with us, but also just their long-term fundraising activities. So this is just some feedback on skills, on the training and resources we provided charities in the past. And on the previous slide, I mentioned also charities have reported that the profile has increased through the match funding campaigns they've taken part with us. And they've said to us that coming under one umbrella, bigger umbrella campaign, for example, the Christmas Challenge, really helps cut through that Christmas fundraising noise, coming in unison together, and really helps around that busy Christmas fundraising time. Normally we see the Christmas Challenge trending around Giving Tuesday. And we also promote the campaign as a whole. And last year our promo video had Stephen Fry, Jane Judy Dench, Dame Helen Mirren in it as well. So that really improved the profile of the campaign and gave a really big boost to the charities taking part. As I mentioned, charities, the vast majority of charities taking part in our match funding campaigns report that they've received donations from new supporters. So this is from 2020. We're still getting the results back from last year's survey, but when I last looked at it, it was around sort of 90% again of participants reporting donations from new supporters. I'm going to just talk about the match funding opportunities that we have on offer for charities. Christmas Challenge, that's the one that we're most well known for. It's our biggest campaign, and it's the UK's biggest online match funding campaign. It's a cause neutral campaign, so there's no specific cause or any charity registered in the UK, Scotland and Northern Ireland can take part in the campaign as long as they have a minimum income of £25,000. We call our network of philanthropists champions, and we have a wealth of different champions looking to support charities, and they're looking to support different types of charities. So that may be charities based in a specific region of the UK. It may be a certain type of charity working in a certain sector, for example, international development, or working with children living in poverty. So we have basically almost a champion for all types of charities. So we really encourage just any charity to apply for it. It launches on Giving Tuesday every year, so we're one of Giving Tuesday's key partners, and as I mentioned, we normally see it trending on Twitter on the launch day. And the median income of charities taking part is about £500,000. So we've heard from charities before that they initially thought before applying that it's a campaign for the bigger charities. And actually, the vast majority of charities are small to medium-sized incomes that are taking part. So we've had the whole gamut right from the smallest charities of £25,000 right to the household names that take part. But I must stress, the vast majority of participants are small to medium-sized charities. And as I mentioned before, the way that we really want to help charities is providing those access to training and resources to help those smaller charities plan and prepare for the campaign and excel in the campaign. And lastly, last year was our biggest campaign ever. We had 928 charities take part. It was the most amount that was raised, including match funds over the campaign. Most amount of charities took part, and just under 80,000 donations were made. So most amount of donations for any campaign that we've ever run. Who we work with. So our list of champions includes some businesses and some of the biggest trusts and foundations in the country. So like the Julian Hans Housing Trust and the Lottery Heritage Fund. As I mentioned, we worked with some of the household charities that have taken part in our campaigns, but again, just stressing that a lot of small and medium-sized charities take part in our campaigns. And we featured in some of the national media outlets, and just reiterating the point that we really try to market our campaigns as a whole and get them trending and try and really get them in the public eye. So some of the other campaigns that we run, one of them is the Green Match Fund. So it's an environmentally focused campaign. I think I saw one of the wildlife trusts had joined the call. So applications for the Green Match Fund are currently open and they close on the 25th of February. It's the second year that we are running it. Last year, we had just over 100 charities take part. It launches on World Earth Day, and last year around, I think it was £1.8 million was raised across the whole campaign. Second, we have a summer campaign. So that is actually the Childhood Trust campaign, and they run it on our website as a match funding campaign still. Their remit is to work with children living in poverty in London. So that's the main focus of the campaign, and charities taking part have to be working with children living in poverty. But that's not to say that charities outside of London can't take part. We've had in the past like a sailing charity based in the Isle of Wight, where they've taken children from London out to the Isle of Wight for sailing courses. So if you do have a project working with children in London, you can still take part in that campaign, and you can apply for that campaign. Applications for that open at the start of February, and the campaign, as mentioned, campaign launches over summer. Last year's campaign raised, I think it was £3.4 million over the week. And this is the first time ever we're running the Women and Girls Match Fund. So applications closed a couple of days ago. We're hoping it'll be a great success and that we'll be able to run it next year as well. So initially this year, it's being funded by DCMS's campaign tax. And as it says on the tin, it's a campaign focused on women and girls issues. All charities taking part have to have women and girls issues as the core mission of their charity. But we're also hoping to expand our campaign portfolio and have more focused campaigns, match funding campaigns for charities to take part in, such as mental health, maybe international development as well. So keep an eye out on our website for more campaign announcements. We're also really trying to encourage charities to think about running their own match funding campaign. If the campaigns that we run don't fit into your sort of fundraising calendar, running your own match funding campaign is also a possibility on our website, and that's entirely a self-service setup, and you can do it at any time of the year. You can choose when the campaign launches and closes. And we're really trying to encourage charities to think about running their own match funding campaigns, and we think it's a great way to leverage support from your own major donors and channel that into match funding. So running your own match funding campaign, you have to provide your own match funds, but you have complete control over the campaign. Example of this was the brain tumor charity just at the start of the pandemic. They launched two of their own match funding campaigns to great success, and the feedback was so positive both from the donors and from the match funders that they ran another match funding campaign last August, and it's sort of become a regular fixture in the fundraising calendar now. So we really want to encourage charities to try running their own match funding campaign, leverage that support from major donors and see the feedback from donors, and we really believe that it can become a regular fixture in your fundraising calendar. As I mentioned, it's completely self-service setup, so there's some information about how you can set up your own campaign, but it's also available on our website. And if you're thinking about running your own match funding campaign, you may be thinking who can be a match funder, and as it says here, anyone: trustees, businesses, corporations, major donors, trusts and foundations. And you just don't, it doesn't have to be one. You can group a couple of major donors or trustees, etc., together to form a match funding pot for your own campaign. And it's a great way to, if you know someone or an organization is going to be giving you a big donation this year, or they're planning to, it's great to approach them and then suggest that they channel that donation into match funding, encourage other people to donate to your charity. So they're leveraging their donation and sort of multiplying its effects and its impacts by channeling it in match funds. So yeah, as I mentioned, have a think about running your own match funding campaign. And if you do have any major donors that you think would be approachable to channeling it into match funds. And yeah, that's just a wrap up of what donors have said to us, is that they're more, this is from our own research that we've done, donors are likely to give a larger gift because of match funding. So it really increases the impact of their donation. And finally, how to get involved. I'd recommend charities sign up for an account with us. It's completely free to sign up for an account with us to apply and participate in our campaigns, completely free. If you sign up for an account with us, you'll be added to our mailing list. So you'll be added to our, you'll be able to receive emails from us to hear about future match funding opportunities from us, and also receive our newsletters as well, which will have updated news from the Big Give. But after this workshop, if you have any further questions, you can always drop us an email at hello@thebiggive.org.uk. And myself or my colleague will get back to you. If you want to arrange a call back, we're also happy to do that and arrange a call with you if you discuss any of your requirements, or if you have any further questions about any of our campaigns or running your own match funding campaign. That is the end of my presentation, so I'm happy to answer any questions now.
That was fantastic, thank you. Really, really valuable to hear not only about the Big Give, but some good tips on crowdfunding and online fundraising as well. So fabulous. Does anybody have any questions in the room before I go to the chat?
Could I ask one, if I may? And thank you, Sahil, for that. We're a fairly new charity over in Wellesbourne at the moment. The run your own match funding, is there a minimum income level to be able to take advantage of that one?
No, there isn't a minimum income level. For charities running their own match funding campaign, they have to put in a minimum amount of £1,000 into their match funding pot, but that can come from different sources. So you could have, for example, the minimum amount an individual donor has to put into that match funding pot is £100. So you could have, for example, 10 donors putting in £100 to make up that match funding pot, or you could have one, for example.
Thank you.
Fabulous, Chris.
Yes, thanks for that presentation. Just to clarify, in terms of the national campaigns, who's providing the match funding?
So it's a variety of different match funders. So we work with a number of trusts and foundations and businesses, and also individual philanthropists. So it's basically it's just a variety of different match funders. And then for the Christmas challenge specifically, they each will be supporting a specific type of charities or specific sectors, and then we filter the applications according to what type of charities they want to support. So we'll have, last year, I think we had around 20 different match funders for the Christmas challenge.
So that kind of match funding is the Big Give's responsibility to collect and
yes,
bring to the table, as it were.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Fab. Louise had to leave, but she's asked in the chat, she said, could you let us know whether donations from crowdfunding schemes can be matched by match funders? So I don't know, I asked before she left if she meant separate from the Big Give.
Yeah, so for our website, if you set up your own match funding campaign or take part in one of ours, you'll have your own campaign page on the Big Give website. For us to match donations must come through the Big Give website, through your campaign page on the Big Give website. That's just so we can monitor the match funds in real time and ensure donations are being matched correctly. And donations need to be made by credit, debit card, or Apple Pay or Google Pay. We can't match donations made offline or on other websites.
Okay, so if they were to use the crowdfunding website, it would be, that's absolutely fine. Sue?
Yeah, is it just charities that can apply for this or not? Because I belong to one group that's a charity and another group that isn't a charity.
So it will have to be either registered charities or organisations that have been granted exempt status by HMRC to claim gift aid. So those are the two types of organisations that support at the moment.
Just look at the one. Thank you.
Is it possible to say do a campaign in partnership? So say a community organisation and a local charity could do so in partnership as long as there's a charity represented?
Yeah, so the charity would sign up for the account and basically run the campaign. And when they set up the campaign, they just need to sort of outline in the project description that the funds will be split, or how the funds will be split. That can definitely work.
Okay, fantastic. So exempted organisations, we're talking mostly about sort of religious organisations and the like, is that?
Yeah, and sort of some education as well.
Okay, fantastic. Are not-profit CICs with asset locks eligible?
Fortunately, no, not at the moment. Just I can say just keep an eye out on our website in case our eligibility requirements change, but at the moment, no.
Okay, fantastic. Charles has said that it's very informative, but his dog has bitten through the mic. And I thought that was important to share. Well, my cat has had a good chew at all of the technology in my house, so I absolutely understand. I don't think there's any more questions in the chat. Are there any more? Anybody else have any questions? Mike?
Yeah, sorry, I come from a sports club and we're looking to kind of build a big facility with clubhouse and pitch. Is there the ability for sports clubs to leverage what we're raising through this as well? And can the Big Give support those kind of projects, or is it more aimed at a charity organisation that is set up as a charity as opposed to a sports club that might be eligible for gift aid?
Yeah, so if you're registered as exempt by HMRC, so I think you'll have that sort of exempt reference, and you can register for an account with us and take part in our campaigns. So if you do have that exempt status from HMRC, then you can take part in our campaigns. But otherwise, if you're not registered as a charity, unfortunately not. In terms of your project, sort of what you outlined that you're seeking to raise funds for, that's definitely something that we would be able to accept as an application. Generally, the things that our champions may be slightly less interested if you're applying for our campaigns is that capital costs are something that they're probably less fond of funding, but like projects like that definitely would be of interest.
Sorry if you've said this already, but if it's a self-run match funding, do you also have to be a registered charity?
Yes. So to register for an account with us, you have to be a registered charity or exempt status.
Okay, Chris.
Yeah, sports clubs. I think what you're referring to, Sile, is the cask status. I don't know if your cask status, Mike, or irrespective of that, Sport England do a similar scheme where I don't know if it's just for revenue or capital, but go on the Sport England website and they've been running a similar scheme about match funding, people raising a revenue for sports clubs. So
they do. Yeah, I've looked at that. And there's
looked at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just revenue, is it?
I think there's two strands. I think there's just been a capital one released as well more recently.
And there's ones which are for strategic facilities. But unfortunately, that's for leisure centres, so it doesn't really help your sports club.
Big.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to have a chat about it, we can see because there are other match funding opportunities available, and Sahil's provided some really, I think, useful information on match funding at large. So we can have a look at maybe ones that would be eligible. Do some research, Mike, and have a chat about it.
Brilliant, thank you.
Fab.
Final, sorry, Phoebe, you go on.
I thought Sue had her hand up. That was all. Wait your turn, Chris.
Okay, yeah. Can you just clarify, when you were talking about the Christmas challenge, you said that a minimum income or a main income of, minimum income of 25,000. Then later on, you said something about 5,000. And because, I mean, our village hall is nowhere near 25,000. So we...
So the minimum income to take part in the campaign, charity has to have a minimum income of £25,000. I think you may be referring to the median income. So across all of the charities that took part last year, the median income was £500,000. That was just to underline the sort of general size of charities that was taking part. But every year we have charities right from that £25,000 sort of income level right to the sort of multi-millions that take part. So you just need a minimum income of £25,000.
Nowhere near that. So bye-bye.
Is that for the tax year that the campaign is being applied for? Because sometimes people, if there's a capital project on.
So we basically look at whatever your last file accounts with the Charity Commission are.
Okay. Kathy? Oh, you're muted. It's okay.
Sorry. I was just going to ask whether you do have to have the year's worth of accounts. By Christmas we probably would be easily up to 25,000, but we don't have a year's worth of accounts filed. So does that mean we're not applicable?
Unfortunately, that we do have some leeway sometimes. So if you are still going to file accounts with the Charity Commission, even if your income level doesn't meet that £25,000 minimum requirement, we may be able to have some leeway if you can provide us with maybe some audited accounts. So if you do have any further questions in the application process, you can drop us an email. We can discuss.
Thank you.
Discuss if we can have any leeway.
Thank you. Can I just ask a question about a possible project as well? Does it need to be one big project, or can it be kind of an overarching theme of projects? Specifically, I'm talking about groups. If we wanted to open groups in different parts of the country, could that count as one project, or does that need to be multiple projects?
No, that could work. I guess my advice there would be just if you're filling out an application or writing a project description when you're making your own campaign or applying for one of our campaigns, it's just to be really clear on how the project is structured. And we ask for charities to just put a detail on how any funds raised will be spent. So you just need to be as detailed as possible there, just so both us and the champions sort of have clarity on how funds will be spent across the different groups.
Okay, well, I think I'm going to wait and hope that you run the women and girls one again, because my charity is Autistic Girls Network, so it would be perfect.
Yes, Chris.
Can I go now, Miss?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm just curious in terms of say the big campaigns like the Christmas campaign. So the element that you're collecting in terms of donors and things and match funding, that what's raised through the campaign, how is that amount that you raise, how is that allocated to the 105 charities? Do they get 105th of the amount raised, or is there a different mechanism?
So the Christmas challenge, I'll explain how the actual Christmas challenge model, match funding model works, because this is slightly complicated. I don't want to put down the presentation with that. So charities have to make a for the Christmas challenge specifically, charities have to make a contribution to their own match funding pot. So these are what we call pledges. So there are 2 stages to the application process. Charities, they complete the stage 1 application, which is just completing an online form detailing what the project is. And they're automatically enrolled in the stage 2 phase, where they have to collect these pledges. So say a charity, they apply for the campaign and they raise £1,000 in pledges. We then, after all the charities have, after the stage 2 phase is closed, we review the applications and then we share them with the champions. And the champions then decide how to allocate the funding. So a champion may decide to support this charity with another £1,000. So that charity now has £2,000 in its match funding pot, £1,000 from its own supporters, and then £1,000 from our network of champions. And so then we go into the campaign, and then the charity needs to raise £2,000 to unlock all of the match funding. But it's not a all or nothing situation. Whatever the charity does raise, if it doesn't hit its target, whatever it does raise is still matched. So that's how the Christmas challenge specifically works. Sometimes some champion sectors are oversubscribed, and they want to try and support as many charities as possible, but they don't have an unlimited pot of money, for example, unfortunately. So they may offer what we call partial match funding to charities. So a charity may have raised £5,000 in pledges, but a champion, because their sector is oversubscribed, they may offer that charity £2,500 in champion funding. So that match funding pot will have £7,500 in total, £5,000 from its own supporters and £2,500 from the champion. Last year, charities that secured like the minimum £1,000 in pledges, 75% received some form of champion funding. So hopefully that's clear. But we get a lot of questions about the Christmas challenge match funding model. So if you do have any further questions, let me know now, or you can drop us an email and we can sort of try and explain it further. And I'd just like to clarify, for the Green Match Fund and for the Women and Girls campaign, it's one match funding. So all of the match funds are provided by the Big Give. Charities don't have to secure any pledges from any of their supporters, purely match funding from the Big Give.
Fantastic. Sorry, I was muted there. The cat was causing a ruckus, so I had to mute it. The cat was barking, so I had to mute. That's fantastic. If there are no other questions, all I can do is recommend that if anything comes up, do let us know, your local officer at Carver know, or get in touch with Sahil or the team on the email address he provided on the presentation. Like I said, I will share all of that and that contact information as well, so that you have that for reference, and just a reiteration that we're here to help. So do get in touch. So thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.